Find somewhere else to die. You're useless now. Chile. My own daughter looked me dead in my face and said them words like she was ordering coffee at Starbucks. Victoria Sullivan Hayes, my flesh and blood, the baby I carried for 9 months, the little girl I raised while her daddy built his empire, stood in the doorway of the house I'd kept spotless for 43 years and told me to get out. I packed like the obedient mama I'd always been. 2 suitcases, 1 box of photos. 43 years of marriage folded into luggage that barely weighed more than my broken heart. 3 days later, I'm sitting in Attorney Harrison Fitzgerald's office downtown Atlanta, Peachtree Center, floor 23, and honey, the plot twist hit harder than a MARTA train at rush hour. My supposedly loving husband, Robert, had played the longest game of chess in history. And Victoria? She was about to learn that sometimes the pawn becomes the queen. Period. Y'all watching from Atlanta? Drop a get in the comments if you in the A right now. Let me know where you tuning in from, sis, because this story got more turns than I-285 on a Friday afternoon. Let me take y'all back. 2 months ago, I was Margaret Sullivan, devoted wife of 43 years, mama to 1 spectacularly ungrateful daughter. When Robert dropped dead of a heart attack at 71, I thought the world had ended. Victoria swooped in during my grief like a buzzard in Louboutins. Mom, this big house in Buckhead is too much for you alone. The stairs, the yard, all them memories. It ain't healthy. Her voice dripping fake concern thicker than Cairo syrup. I should have clocked the calculation behind them crocodile tears. Victoria was always Robert's favorite, his little princess. Could do no wrong. When she married that investment banker Kevin and popped out them 2 grandbabies, Robert treated them like royalty. Me? I was just the woman who cooked, cleaned, kept the lights on, and made sure his shirts were starched just right. After the funeral at Cascade United Methodist, Victoria got more insistent, bringing Kevin over for family dinners at Houston's or the Capitol Grill, cornering me with real estate flyers and brochures for them fancy senior living communities out in Alpharetta. Mom, these places got activities, people your age, no responsibilities. What they really meant, no mama in the way, no inheritance to split later, just get her out quiet. Then last Tuesday hit. I'd been sleeping in the guest room of my own house for 6 weeks. Couldn't bear to pack up our bedroom yet. Victoria rolled up unannounced with Kevin and 2 Louis Vuitton suitcases like they already owned the place. Mom, we made a decision. Kevin got that VP promotion at the firm. We need to move into Buckhead immediately. This house is perfect for us. I stared. Move in? This is my home. Her mask slipped. Just a second. But I saw the ice underneath. Actually, Mom, according to Daddy's will, I inherited everything. House, investments, all of it. I've been letting you stay here out of the kindness of my heart, but it's time for you to find your own place. Them words hit like a slap. Victoria, surely there's a mistake. No mistake. Daddy knew I'd take better care of his legacy than you ever could. You never understood money. You was just the wife. Just the wife. 43 years boiled down to 3 little words. Then came the kill shot. Find somewhere else to die. You useless now. I packed in one day. Victoria watched from the doorway, checking her Apple Watch like I was holding up her nail appointment. There's a nice senior complex off Howell Mill. Very affordable. I'm sure they got openings. Affordable. My daughter about to inherit $33 million, and she recommending what basically amounted to Section 8 for seniors. Kevin loaded my bags into their black Range Rover like he was tossing trash. Margaret, you gonna love having your independence again. No more worrying about property taxes or maintenance. No more home, he meant. as we pulled away from 847 Oakwood Drive, the house I'd turned into a home, hosted Victoria's Sweet 16 in, nursed Robert through chemo scares, kept every detail perfect. I watched it shrink in the rear view. I'd spent 4 decades making that place shine. Now I was being dropped at the Sunset Inn off I-75/85 like an overstayed guest. $49 a night, thin walls, thinner towels, carpet that remembered Nixon. Victoria handed me $200 cash, like tipping the valet. This should hold you a few days till we sort Daddy's paperwork. Kevin gonna transfer some money once we figure it out. Some money, from my own inheritance. They left. I sat on that sagging mattress and tried to breathe. In 3 hours, I'd gone from grieving widow to homeless senior citizen. The child I raised, loved, sacrificed for, discarded me like an old prescription bottle. But something nagged at me. Robert was obsessive about his affairs, showed me the will years ago, explained everything. I knew, deep in my soul, that wasn't what it said. He wasn't cruel. The man who held me through Mama's funeral, brought me peonies every anniversary, wouldn't leave me with nothing. Next morning, I used the motel Wi-Fi, spotty as hell, and looked up Harrison Fitzgerald. Same lawyer handled our house closing, Robert's business stuff for decades. Downtown, 20-minute MARTA ride. Cost me my last $10 in fare. Harrison, distinguished black man in his 70s, kind eyes behind wire rims, looked shocked when his secretary said, "Mrs. Sullivan here about her husband's estate." "Margaret, my dear, I've been wondering when you'd come. I called the house several times. Victoria said you was traveling." "Traveling? That's what she told him?" "Mr. Fitzgerald, I need to know about Robert's will." He frowned. "Of course. Didn't Victoria give you your copy? I gave her the original and copies after the reading." My stomach dropped. There was a reading? "Margaret, you was supposed to be there. Victoria said you was too distraught, said she'd handle everything and make sure you got your inheritance." Blood left my face. I was never told about any reading. Victoria told me she inherited everything. She moved into my house, gave me $200 and told me to find somewhere to die. Harrison's face went from confused to furious in 0.2 seconds. He grabbed a thick file. "Margaret, that's impossible. Your husband's will is crystal clear about your inheritance." He pulled the document. Robert's neat signature, witnessed, notarized. Then he read, "I, Robert James Sullivan, being of sound mind, bequeath to my beloved wife, Margaret Ann Sullivan, our primary residence at 847 Oakwood Drive, Buckhead, including all furnishings. Additionally, I leave her 70% of all financial assets, investments, and accounts, totaling approximately $23 million. My head spun. 23 million. The house, 70%. He kept reading. "To my daughter, Victoria Sullivan Hayes, I leave $10 million to be held in trust. Distributions beginning on her 45th birthday, contingent upon her treatment of her mother following my death." Contingent upon her treatment of me. Robert knew. Somehow he'd seen her coming. "Mr. Fitzgerald, Victoria said I got nothing. She put me out." His voice dropped low. "What she did is elder abuse, fraud, multiple felonies. She showed you forged documents, probably from an old draft. Your husband updated his will 6 months before he passed, specifically because he was worried about Victoria's entitlement." Room spinning. All them times she talked over me at family dinners at Bones or Chops. rolled her eyes when I spoke, dismissed me like I was slow. "There's more," Harrison said. "The trust clause? If she fails to treat you with respect and dignity after my death, the entire 10 million reverts to you." I stared. "You saying I'm getting all 33 million plus the house?" Harrison smiled. First real warmth I'd felt since Robert died. "That's exactly what I'm saying. Your daughter just cost herself 10 million trying to snatch what was yours." The irony was so thick I could choke on it. Victoria moved so fast to claim her bag. She triggered the trap Robert set to protect me from her greed. "What do I do now?" My voice shook. "Now, my dear, we call the police about the fraud. Then we call Victoria and let her know the Queen just flipped the board. Y'all seeing this chess move? Robert out here playing 4D chess from the grave. Drop a chess piece if you team Margaret. What would you do, sis? Comment period if this already got you heated." Harrison turned his office into Command Central. Operation Justice. Called Atlanta PD, froze every account Victoria thought she controlled. Utilities she'd transferred? Suspended. Credit cards linked to her new money? Declined mid-swipe. Phone rang at 3:47 p.m. Victoria. "Mom, where you at? There's some mix-up with the bank accounts. They sayin' Daddy's assets frozen." "Hello, Victoria. I'm in Harrison Fitzgerald's office. You remember him, the attorney who read the real will to an empty room while you told him I was traveling?" Silence. Then, "Mom, I don't know what you think you found. I found out you a liar and a thief, baby." "Mom, you confused. Grief got you. Somebody taking advantage." "The audacity," I said slow. "You forged documents, committed fraud, threw your 67-year-old mama out her house because you thought I was too dumb to notice." Her voice cracked, desperate. "Mom, can we meet and talk reasonable? I'm sure we can work something out." "Oh, we definitely meeting soon. At the courthouse, when you get arraigned." "You wouldn't dare press charges on your own daughter." Something cold and final locked in my chest. "Watch me." Hung up. Harrison beaming like a proud uncle. Police picked Victoria up at 8:30 p.m., mid-dinner at St. Cecilia, probably toasting her inheritance with Kevin and another couple. She screamed false arrest, demanded her lawyer, who turned out to be Kevin's golf buddy with zero criminal experience. Kevin got snatched from his Buckhead office next morning. Forensic accountant traced the forgeries straight to a shady printer his firm used for fake prospectuses. Turns out Kevin had his own rap sheet, securities fraud investigation already brewing. I spent my first night back in my house in 43 years. Slept in the master bedroom. Victoria had already moved her designer mess in, clothes everywhere, cosmetics covering Robert's neat organization. I bagged it all, left the garbage bags on the front porch like she left my dignity at the Sunset Inn. House felt different, not because Robert was gone, but because I finally saw it as mine. For decades, I kept it his way, his colors, his layout, his vision. Now, I was about to make it reflect me. Harrison called noon next day. Victoria's bail, $50,000. Accounts frozen. She's scrambling. Kevin's $200,000. Judge wasn't impressed with his history. Who knew my son-in-law was already dirty? But then again, they always talked money over my head like I was slow. "Margaret, you want to make changes to the house?" Victoria had contractors lined up. I smiled for the first time in weeks. Yes, but my vision. Robert's study becoming my art studio. Them wine cellar plans turning into a library. Kitchen, getting the gut I always wanted but never asked for. Excellent. It's your home now. Do what makes you happy. What made me happy was undoing every assumption Victoria made about who I was. Then Channel 7 called. Mrs. Sullivan, we understand you victim of major elder fraud by your daughter. Would you share your story? Word spread fast in Atlanta. Prominent investment banker and wife arrested for defrauding elderly mother-in-law? That's news. I told the reporter I'd think about it, but deep down, I knew other mamas out here needed to hear this. How many black mamas quietly getting pushed out their homes by grown kids who see dollar signs instead of mama? 3 days later, Victoria showed up on my porch. Yesterday's clothes looked like she aged 10 years overnight, made bail somehow. Mom, please, we need to talk. We talked. You told me to find somewhere to die. I found somewhere to live instead. Tears, real ones this time. I made mistakes, terrible mistakes, but I'm still your daughter. Are you? Because daughters don't forge documents to steal their mama's inheritance. She tried the same script. I was protecting you. You never managed big money. I cut her off. Victoria, let me tell you something your daddy said 6 months before he died. I pulled out my phone, played the video Robert recorded, the one Harrison gave me after the fraud came to light. His voice filled the porch, calm, measured, devastating. If you hearing this, Victoria, it means my fears about your character was justified. I hoped I was wrong, hoped my daughter had more integrity. But if Margaret playing this, you proved me right in the worst way. Victoria sank to the steps, ugly sobs, mascara rivers. He kept going, talked about how I sacrificed part-time jobs at Rich's and Davison's to help pay her Spelman tuition while he built the business, postponed my dreams, poured everything into being the wife and mama they needed. By the time you hear this, treating your mother bad done cost you everything. I hope it was worth it. When it ended, she was wrecked. He hated me. No, baby. He loved you enough to hope you'd prove him wrong. You chose to prove him right. She looked up, broken. What happens now? Now you face consequences. Fraud charges, investigation, public shame when this hits the news. The news? Face crumpled. Mom, think about the grandbabies, Kevin's career, our family. Mayor says she wants to apologize, ask forgiveness. My stance ain't changed. Schedule a meeting with her lawyer, not to reconcile, to make one thing crystal clear. What's that? I want Victoria to understand her actions got consequences beyond prison. She destroyed our relationship permanent. Her children gonna grow up knowing exactly why they mama went away. Sarah nods slow. And the grandbabies? My relationship with them? When they grown, based on their choices, not they mama trying to rehab her image. Doorbell. Delivery. New easel and paints for the art studio. Robert's old den now flooded with light, canvases everywhere. I'm painting again, something I gave up when I became the wife. Sarah asks quiet, you ever regret how it played out? The sentences, the media, the permanent estrangement? I sign for the delivery. Think about the woman I was 6 months ago, invisible, grieving, sleeping in a $49 motel, believing I was useless. Today, millionaire philanthropist, documentary subject, woman with purpose bigger than survival. Sarah, my daughter tried to steal everything I had and leave me on the street. My son-in-law forged documents and threatened me with blackmail when he thought I was powerless. They showed me exactly who they were. But they still family. No, they DNA. Family protects you when you're vulnerable, not exploit your vulnerability for profit. I walk through my house, decorated how I want, organized around my priorities. In the art studio, I uncover my latest piece, self-portrait, woman standing in bright Georgia sun, face turned toward tomorrow, powerful, independent, unafraid. She don't look like the grieving widow who packed 2 suitcases. She looks like somebody who learned the best revenge ain't getting even. It's becoming everything your enemies never thought you could be. Outside, sun setting behind the crepe myrtles I planted myself. Soil that's mine. Property I defended with brains and backbone, not marriage papers or birth certificates. Tomorrow, I keep building the life I chose, not the one they planned for me. And if Victoria ever wants back in, she better bring more than prison letters and apologies. She better bring a whole transformation that matches mine. Thanks for riding with me, y'all. If this story hit you in the chest, drop a heart below. Share if you got a mama, granny, auntie who needs to hear this. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. Tell me in the comments, what's the hardest boundary you ever had to set with family?